Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This week, Sikhs worldwide are commemorating two different events. One deals with the trauma and pain of pogroms of November 1984, and the other is the cultural festival of Diwali, which in Sikh context is Bandi Chhod Divas. So I'm sitting here thinking and reflecting upon how do we at the same time within a week deal with two varying events. One seems to be more celebratory, but the other one seems to be more of sadness. Again, seemingly we look at those. So the idea is, can we understand something from the lives of the Gurus, Guru Nanak Sahib onwards, to get lessons on how do we deal with two of these events. So let's look at Guru Nanak Sahib himself. He also witnesses a genocide during his lifetime. He records it very well in his Bani, where he is talking to the divine, Vaheguru Ek Oankar, and in his conversations with Vaheguru, he says he's having a hard time understanding what happened when he witnessed the genocide which Babur committed in Hindustan. And he says to Vaheguru that if two unequal sides are fighting, it's hard to understand when the mighty kills the meek. And at the same time, while he's having these kind of dialogues and conversations, he is responding. Both Bhai Mardana and Guru Nanak Sahib are jailed for questioning what Babur did. They organized people in jail, then they had to be released from the jail. So this was his response. He wasn't just saying, let's be spiritually active about it, let's just do Simran. They did Simran and Part and Kirtan to develop their own strengths and conversations with Vaheguru. At the same time, there's a response to the community which was relevant for the time being. Now, let's go to the idea of Diwali. What happened in Diwali? Well, what happens is, you know the cultural context of it. In the Sikh context, Guru Har Gobind Sahib is freed from a jail. We actually call it Bandi Chhod Divas, which literally in Punjabi means Kaidiyan nu chhudaya. Kaidis are prisoners. People who were imprisoned by the state, they were freed. So it wasn't enough for the Guru to say that it's okay for if you release me. His surroundings, whether they were Sikhs or not, it was important for him that his surroundings also become free. So what is going on here at these two events? You might say, well, they were Gurus and this is how they dealt with it. Well, we need to draw lessons from how Sikhs deal with this. Let's come to the first one. There was a genocide in 1762 as well, where half of the Sikh population was killed in one day, where the numbers range anywhere from 20,000 to 50,000 Sikhs. What did Sikhs do at that time? Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, Baba Chadat Singh, they organized Sikhs, while they strengthened themselves through Part and Simran, they organized Sikhs to defeat Zain Khan in Sirhind within 3 months and overpowered Lahore within 6 months. This is how the Sikhs of 18th century responded to the biggest genocide Sikhs have seen of their populations. Well, the question for us then is, what should we learn from Diwali? Same thing from Diwali. Who are we freeing ourselves? How do I learn from what Guru Har Gobind Sahib did, which is the idea which Guru Nanak Sahib started, and let's invoke Gurbani a little bit here again. Guru Nanak Sahib is saying when Babur attacked India, the prince, the Mir, when he attacked India, there were so many spiritualists, because we struggle with this too. Should I just do Part? Should I just strengthen myself? Or should I go out and become a force to deal with these kind of atrocities? And Guru Nanak Sahib says, when the Mir attacked, there were so many spiritualists, there were multiple peers. Why didn't they show their magic that day? How come they weren't relevant? How come the Mughals didn't go blind that day? So his point is, if you are just spiritually active or just politically active, you will not be able to provide wonderful solution. What we are dealing this week with is this journey from what I am calling, as I do my own journey, from darkness to light. Darkness deals with the ignorance. Ignorance of the trauma of 84 as to how Guru Nanak dealt with it, how the Sikhs have dealt with it, and how we should be dealing with it. It's been 27 years and we still haven't figured out as a community how to respond to it. Should we be complaining about it to the earthly authorities, or should we have conversations with Vaheguru, and in our own responses we should be giving, as several people have given in the last 27 years, from legal, judicial to other ways. Similarly, in Diwali, the question should be, how many people have I freed? Do our women in our community feel free? Do our children feel free? Are we giving them wings to have a bigger flights of freedom, or are we clipping their wings so they can figure out how to give their responses? This is the challenge for us. This is the challenge for me, you, and whole community, from local Gurdwaras all the way to Akal Takht Jathedar. We are facing the very same scenario again, which is that the just spiritual people and just political people are conspiring to control us, whereas you and I need to respond by ourselves becoming Meers and Peers at the same time. So the question is, what is the message for the day out of this week's event? How can we commemorate them? You all figure out. You can enjoy laddus, you can also have your chocolate laddus and do atishbajis, but at the same time, the question remains, how many lives have I freed? Darkness is about ignorance, and ignorance breeds revenge and hatred. Whereas if we invite Shabad, as Bhai Gurdas writes, that Diwali ki raat dive baliyan is temporary. Don't just light the lamp which will die off in a few hours. Just like the stars disappear by the time morning comes. And just like when the pilgrims leave, the pilgrimage center becomes empty. And just like this life will eventually end. And just like when the flowers are plucked away, there is no more garden. And the last Shabad of the line says, a Gurmukh, a Guru-oriented person, the Guru-inspired person, savors Shabad in their life, wisdom in their life, to become, have permanent joy in their life. So they know how to respond to community needs. So ignorance, as I said earlier, breeds hatred and revenge, which actually has to do with darkness, whereas wisdom brings out the doctrine of justice and doctrine of love at the same time. So the question for all of us is, how many lights can we lamp this today and this week, so we don't operate in ignorance and we transcend ourselves to operate in wisdom while inviting Shabad into our lives. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.